Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, you are a part of the Sideline Junkies podcast network. For who am I? Well, as my board says behind me, it is David Ruffin. And
I knew something was up.
Junkies. And as you can see, I am David Ruffin. Sitting there with me, I would say it's Otis, but everybody already coming to see Otis. It's the Midnight Rider sitting in this thing, man. How you feeling this morning, brother?
Yo, I knew something was up when I saw the Sideline Junkies thing on the screen. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I just had a feeling you was up to something. So that's what's up. I like that.
Let me tell you this. If you haven't listened or watched the WrestleManiacs from last night, you missed the treat. You see by my head, it was a bomb burner last night. It was a bomb burner. Like I'm just rolling out of bed. My wife is giving me the side eye. I already got that drink in my cup for the morning. Let me pull it back. There you go.
I was about to say, don't get in trouble. You know, one of them little hairs on your head out of place.
Yeah, it is. Oh, she'll be over in a second. Look, you gotta see how she's looking at me. I wish you could see it.
I know. This ain't my first show.
Yeah. I'm getting a side eye. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we spend so much money for hair and makeup. And it seems like it's all on my budget. So,
it is. You got all the budget for that.
I pay her well. I'm getting ready to pay her real well once we finish this show and go get this chili powder for her so she can make this chili. So, first and foremost, my brother, how you feeling this morning?
Man, I'm good, man. Just a good day. Just like you, I got started late. Some reason I was up at 6:30, and I was like, I have no reason to be up at 6:30. This is Sunday, so it took me a while to get back to sleep. Of course, I didn't go back to sleep till like 8. So when you were like, "Yeah, let's push it back to 12," I was like, "Yeah, bet, let's do that." So just easy Sunday morning, man. About to go make some spaghetti in a little bit.
Hell, we might have to meet up in the middle. I give you a bowl of this chili, you give me a bowl of that. Oh man, I will agree with that. It is a good Sunday for those that celebrate Happy Easter. I know pretty much almost everybody's still in church. If you going to a church that I used to go to, you know, you got the sunrise at 6 a.m., then you got 8 a.m. service, then your mama want to stay for the 11 a.m. service. So you in church all day.
Yes, indeed. With your new suit on that you got from Morton.
Yeah. Was it? It was Harold Penner for me, and then it was also Montgomery Ward as well when I was younger. So I will say that. But man, we got a lot to get into, and I'm gonna toss it over to you because talking about those nationals, they erupt in Colorado. What you got for me?
Yeah, the last 2 nights. I mean, they came in the first night, lost 1-0. And the last 2 nights, they've scored. They scored 10 runs on Friday, and they scored 7 last night. Edwards Jr. came in, shut the door down. But it's also funny because last night had an ironic story. The Nats had this guy they signed from to a minor league deal. Name is Stone Garrett. And I think that Stone went 4 for 5 RBIs against the Colorado. So it works there, but it was a good night. TJ Abrams is starting to hit. The guy that surprises me is Victor Rose. I said it the other night. Right now, he's on so back into his form that he was in 2019, where he wanted to trade for him. Juan Soto came later. So I found out that he's putting back all he's changed his stance. They got scared Alex Cole. They picked from Indians and moved to, but he's been playing up. So
We lost the Midnight Rider there. Uh-oh. His gerbil's not working this morning. But I know he was talking about Juan Soto and Victor Robles. The Nationals, they actually have another game in Colorado today at 3:10. Both teams sit at 3-6. But here's the thing. The Nationals never start off very fast. So I don't expect much from them early. You expect more from him late in the season.
His work, he's kind of been there. They got against left-handers. Not enough this week. They played about 4 teams that started last season. The ball pretty well.
You went all the way out.
C. Abrams has shown that he's a shortstop of the future. He's made some plays. He did have a rough opening where he had 3 years, but after that, it's been going pretty well for him. And then up with him right now is just hitting the pitches. Last night they got a solid finance from Trevor Williams. It's something they weren't getting last year. On our kids like Yohan Don, who I think walks. And had Josiah up home runs. His flip and runs up. We're at a place.
And there he goes again. I don't know. The Midnight Rider is having technical issues right now. I'm gonna see if I can get him on the phone here. He keeps dipping off. He running off on the plug this morning.
Is that me or you?
I think that was. I don't know if that was me or you, because I haven't went nowhere.
Oh, it's the same thing on my side. I had me, but I didn't have you, so I just kept talking. So we go back at the tape.
Oh my God!
One of us will be here. The other won't.
Oh man, you went out for 2 minutes and came back, and then you was real choppy. Your gerbils wasn't working hard enough, man. You got to get them motivated.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Cattle prod.
Hey, something, man. But it's funny because I got 5 bars here because I'm using my phone as opposed to using the internet because I know the internet, the thing is all the way upstairs. So I don't know, man. Another crazy Sunday morning.
Of course.
Just going back, I was just saying, like, again, the kid, Alex Cole, has been a pleasant surprise so far. Trevor Williams is starting to give them some solid innings. And then they're just starting to play some good baseball. The defense is the key to this whole thing. The defense and the pitching. The pitching is actually going 5 or 6 innings now, which is going to be a plus for this team. And then the fact that the defense isn't throwing the ball all over the yard. They had like 2 games where they did that. But other than that, they've been solid. So I think we can get to that magic 70 number if they continue to play like this because they have the promise, they have the options, and they have the talent in place to at least improve. But the problem is that improvement will be minuscule in the larger scheme of things.
Now speaking of pitching, it's something I always wondered. Are we ever going to get back to the point where we got pitchers, no matter if it's the Nationals, my Yankees, anybody, we got a pitcher, at least 3 pitchers in rotation that's actually going to pitch 7 innings?
No. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays have kind of destroyed that because they've been one of those teams that have consistently won 90 games the last couple of years. So they're becoming the case study. I think they figured out they took this Oakland A's Billy Bean Moneyball theory and used analytics, and they made themselves competitive in a situation where they don't draw fans, they don't spend money, but they always find the right person. They always get the right guy. A couple of years ago, they picked up Tommy Pham, and Tommy Pham had like his best season ever, and then they traded him. And then they picked up this kid, Lau, and Lau had his best season, and they moved him. They're the team that if you make a trade with whoever you almost get scared of who they ask for because you just feel like they're going to blow up. And I don't know what it is about this system and what it is about their numbers, but that's how it turns out.
Well, as far as the Nets go, when you went out, I was sitting here and I said, the Nets don't start off. They don't start off cooking at least until May, June-ish.
So we had two different shows going.
Yeah. But May, June-ish, that's when they start out. And I don't expect them to be real hot coming out the gate. Right now, they're sitting at 3-6. And even at 3-6, I'm like, it's not like, this is the worst. Huh?
They should be 4-5. They blew one against Tampa. They were up 6-4 or 6-3. And then they just gave it up in the ninth. The top of the ninth. The closer couldn't get him. The guy couldn't get anybody out. Then they tried to bring the closer in, and they lost 10-6. So they lost. That's one of those games where you'll circle and come back to at the end of the season as a game that you should have won.
Well, here's my thing. Being honest, you don't really need a superstar or superstars to be competitive in the MLB. It's a team game. You need guys that can actually play. If the Nets actually come together early and they play to the point where you have them winning 7-6 as they did last night, 5-4, 1-0, 3-2. Then they pulling out close games like that, and they just racking up wins like that. But then you'll have one where they win in 9-3 or 9-0. But if they put together a lot of close games, it's going to be a dangerous team. All you got to do is play ball.
Well, the only problem with them is their water is only going to rise so much. They're not going to. They just don't have the bats now. Unless you get an amazing season from like Dominic Smith, Meneses, they pretty much have a ceiling, and their ceiling is like 71, 72 ball games. I don't foresee them going over that. And the only reason I don't is that year that Alfonso Soriano was here, he was the guy that was able to get them over and got them 81 and 81. But the next 2 years, they lost close to 90 ball games each year after that. And that's because that ceiling of that team was what it was. They were operating at their ceiling. And this team, I think their ceiling is 72 ball games. There's going to have to be some kid outside of Mackenzie Gore, because I like what he's done so far. He's got 2 wins on the season, but they're going to need somebody else to step up, and maybe that's the kid Jackson Tetrolt or Evan Lee, but they're going to need somebody else in the rotation to give them something, because Corbin isn't doing it, and the guy that goes tonight, I think it's Kuhl, Kuhl. We got to see what he gives. But if he doesn't give anything, you're going to need somebody else in that rotation. And I was very impressed with Josiah Gray the other night in that 1-0 loss. So they need somebody else. They need a third guy, like you were asking about earlier. They need that third guy to kind of give them something to get them over the hump.
And that's the crazy part. I remember at one point in time, of course, your ace pitcher is the dude that can get you through. He can pitch a complete game if needed. You don't want him to do it too early, but late in the season, you got him to pitch a complete game. We don't even see complete games in the MLB at all anymore. But if you had a pitcher that could go 7 strong, and then you bring in the closer and the top of the 8th to close the door, nobody's stopping these teams. But I guess it's like the NBA, like you always say, you asking for something that doesn't exist anymore.
You romanticize, you know what you would be? You would be a great baseball writer, because you romanticize the past. You have this fondness for it, and you long for the days of yesteryear. The only thing you don't talk about is the smell of popcorn and the freshly cut grass. But I appreciate that. Because there's this trueness to the sport that you have. And yeah, unfortunately, baseball isn't run like that anymore. We're trying to, if you're a low market team, you're trying to fulfill the shoes of some big player that you lost in the aggregate. So right now in the aggregate, it's Corey Dickerson and Alex Cole trying in the aggregate to make up for losing Juan Soto, who, of course, as I turned the TV last night to his game, proceeds to shuffle and then hit a home run.
Yeah, I saw when you posted that. I said, well, maybe you need to turn the TV off because if you're going to do that, he going to keep hitting home runs. He probably looked and, he got himself together. Was like, this for you, Midnight Rider. That's for you, man. But you tempered your expectations for the Nats. I have really high hopes for them because nobody else is picking them. That's why.
I mean, you saw the outrage and the frustration when they didn't sign anybody all season. I just don't see where you get better when you don't bring anything else in. And it's not like they called up a bunch of prospects. They ended last year with their best 9. They added Candelario, who I thought at the time wasn't worth it, but obviously they know something that I don't know. And the kids played tremendous third base for him. But yeah, there's nothing they've added to make that made you think that they were going to be better than what they were. If anything, you thought they were going to hold course and just be a bad team. And then the problem they have now is even if they're bad, the highest they can pick in this draft is, I think, 10th. No, 6th, I think it is. So that doesn't help them bring in anything in the following year to keep this thing going. Whereas in years past, they had the year where they drafted Strasburg and they drafted Harper right after. They don't have that luxury this time around. The kids are playing well down, but they're so far away. It just doesn't lend any optimism. And then I don't know if you listened to the radio this week, but they were talking about the fact that this Masson deal isn't going anywhere, which means the learners aren't going anywhere. So the learners are going to pretty much hold this team hostage, or MLB is going to hold this team hostage because they haven't rectified the Masson TV deal, which makes it hard for an owner or somebody to buy the team because they don't know where their revenue is coming from.
And see, I got strong opinions on that as well because Peter Angelos is shrewd, but he's a bully. And if you think that a team coming into the DC market is going to take away from your ticket sales, yeah, it just mean people that's from Virginia and DC not coming up to Baltimore, but you still sell out. I was 2 blocks away from Camden Yards on Friday. It's 2 blocks. Like I could look down the street and see Camden Yards. That's how close I was. I was there from 7 a.m. to 11. By 9:30, 10 o'clock, you know how many O's fans that were just walking down the street? O's jersey, you seen Ripken and I think I seen a Brady Anderson jersey as well. Big chains with the O on them and the Oreo and everything. And people got their kids. They walking down the street, headed to the stadium. Then, as I was leaving, I was going around the corner. They had a street blocked off where they were actually out there partying.
Yeah.
Then I go down the street, people sitting on the front stoops, ready to walk over. How are you going to lose money from DC when Baltimore loves the Orioles? You're not losing money.
Yeah, but you also have no. It's not being greedy because there was talks that even Jack, at the height of the Redskins and their thing, he kind of pushed back on Baltimore getting the team again, because he knew he had the city all he had the market corner. Like who doesn't want if you got the market corner? Who wants to lose that?
Here's the thing about that. Now, take it back. The Redskins played here from 37. They played in DC from 37 to what, 96?
Right.
Okay. You bring in the Ravens in 96, but think about that. 12 years prior, from 1953 to 1984, you had the Baltimore Colts. And in that span, I think Baltimore was more successful than Washington.
Yeah, easily.
You didn't have to worry about Baltimore then. because you had the Colts, and then when the Colts left, a lot of people in Baltimore that were Colt fans did not become Redskin fans. They were still Colt fans, but they weren't Indianapolis Colts. They pined for their own team. They wanted their own team.
Right.
You didn't lose anything because, hey, you had a fan base that was starving and still wouldn't be a fan of yours. This money grab, greedy shit, nah. Because if we do this right, everybody can sit at the table and eat. Nobody should have to eat scraps at this present point. And with the Nationals and the Orioles, no way. When this deal was announced, I remember it. And they were saying that the Nationals weren't going to get any money from a TV deal. Nobody should have to eat scraps.
Well, the way it was set up was the Orioles got the lion's share of the deal. And then what it was supposed to do was grow each year. And what the hope really was that Peter would have, unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, but that he wouldn't be here 10 years later or 15 years later or 20 years later. And that way we could find a way to get out of this deal. Because with the new sale of the Orioles, of course, this wouldn't be part of it. It would be the place where you could separate church and state. But unfortunately, the old man is still around. And, baseball kind of went at it short-sighted because all they wanted was the DC market. They knew if they got the DC market, they were going to be good. And this team was going to be supported no matter what. They knew they could bring in anything, which they did. The Montreal Expos, who for like 5 or 6 years in a row traded away all their best players to teams that were in the pennant race and got absolutely nothing for it. They didn't get quality prospects. They got the bottom of the barrel prospects. I'm not going to say bottom of the barrel, but they got middling prospects back for some great talent. We're talking about a team that had Andres Galarraga, Larry Walker,
Pedro Martinez.
Just guys, man. They had guys on top of guys, and John Wetland, just guys. And then all of a sudden they get to DC, and this is Manny, Mo, and Mike.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? Montreal Expos is a lesson. Before they became the Nationals, they are a lesson in what happens when baseball or any league takes over a team.
Yeah.
They never want to spend any money. They never want to put a winning team out there. They never want to make any moves. I guess in a way I kind of see it because think about it. At one point in time, what was it? Was it the Hornets that the NBA was controlling for a little while?
It was the Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
So whatever the New Orleans team was, because I think they were something else before that.
Whatever the Hornets first, and then they were the Pelicans.
Okay, so
and then they revived them.
Because then you're gonna bring up the infamous Chris Paul trade that didn't go through with the Lakers.
With that too, and I really was really pissed off about that. I still am.
Well, Gil says that he was on the back end of that deal, and I think his deal or whatever was really what held that up, according to him.
Well, Gil has a lot of opinions, and I just be wondering, like, where you get your drugs from, man? But that's different. But when you got a team that's owned by the league, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, it don't matter. You can't expect them to put a winning team on the field because they put a winning team on the field and that team goes all the way. Somebody's going to cry collusion. Somebody's going to cry foul. Somebody's going to cry something because the league won a championship or the league went far and we didn't get this and we didn't get that. Somebody's going to cry about it. So I see it from that aspect. But in the other aspect, I mean, damn, don't you want to be competitive?
I think everybody has the hope of being competitive, but they don't always want to be competitive because then you have to work. Then you have a standard to live up to. And sometimes you just want to get through and get by. Think about perfect examples. The Arizona Cardinals. A team that just they got lucky and they got Kurt Warner and had Larry Fitzgerald and they made a run. But other than that, the Arizona Cardinals haven't really made significant moves or significant steps to be good. Of course, they had the issue in the 80s where they were in the best division in football. So they just were getting stomped on because if they actually played in the West, I don't know if the 49ers get 5, to be honest with you, because I don't know if the 49ers are there in the playoffs every year consistently. Because Arizona with Jim Hart, Stump Mitchell, Otis Anderson and company, they would have given you some problems.
Yeah, no. Because the thing is, we talking 80s. Smash mouth football. They couldn't win in the East. The West was even harder out there because the Rams were competitive. San Francisco was on the come up.
The Rams were somewhat competitive, but the Rams never had a quarterback. The Rams' best quarterback was Brock Dieter or Vince Ferragamo. And that was 80 and 83.
Jim Everett out? Everett was an 80s quarterback.
Okay. My bad. I'm sorry.
Like, that's a proverbial punch to the chest, man.
I mean, I just didn't see the Rams were there, but then you had, I think the West had New Orleans at the time. They just had the defense, but they didn't have any offense.
They had one of the best defense of all time.
Yeah, the 80s was just an interesting test project from like roster building and what teams had and what they didn't have. And it was amazing how one division kind of just ran. They were dominant for almost a 10-year stretch. Like San Francisco was the only outlier.
Yeah, if you look at it, NFC wise,
yeah.
What you got? NFC, San Francisco won in 81, Washington won in 82, Washington went back in 83. 84 was San Francisco. 85 was the Bears. 86 was the Giants. 87 was Washington. 88, 89, and 90. 88 and 89 was San Francisco. 90 was the Giants. Yeah. That's a run of dominance, man.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 91 was Washington. 92.
Dallas.
And 93 was Dallas. 94 was San Francisco. 95 was Dallas. And then that's when the tide changed after 95.
Right.
Because, no NFC East team made an appearance in the Super Bowl after 95 until the Eagles.
Or the Giants.
The Giants in 2000. And then the Eagles a couple years later. Yeah, I just recited that off the top of my head.
Oh, I know.
Oh, man. It's crazy because I was seeing all the Super Bowl tickets. Moving on to the next topic. We're going to discuss the Masters as promised. And I'm looking at the leaderboard. And I'm looking at the live leaderboard. Right now, Ben Kapika is 11 under. I think for the round 3, he's +1.
You mean Brooks Koepka, man?
Damn, I'm sorry.
I don't know who you had. I'm like,
I know who I'm talking about because I done played against the dude so many times on PGA. I know who I'm talking about. I know what he looks like. I know everything about him. And I still messed it up. Who the hell am I talking about, bro? Anyway, that is my apology. But you know who's missing from this leaderboard today? Who didn't make the cut?
Cool.
One Eldrick Tiger Woods.
Well, Tiger made the cut. The problem was
he withdrew.
Yeah, he had to withdraw because his plantar fasciitis kicked in, and his caddy even said him playing anything more than 27 holes. So I think he had 29 holes to play today. To finish the third round and then play the final round. His caddy was just like, he can't do it. Not on that. And if you paid attention, Friday during his round, there was a point where you could see something was wrong with his foot. and or his front leg, so that would be his left foot. He was landing funny. He was pulling off, and that's what's causing him to get the big slice. And he played that most of the day. But the problem with him is, while playing the slice, the other thing I think for Tiger that Tiger really has to start thinking about is he's got to change his body makeup. And what I mean is he has to lose some weight, because right now Tiger like he's a middle linebacker or a strong safety, depending on what era of football you're playing in. And he has to get down a little bit to, I'm not saying get the slot receiver, but he's got to get down in some weight. So his body, because you can't carry that frame with a bad will. Mm-hmm. So you have to adjust something. And it's even the thing of maybe instead of hitting the weights as hard as he does, maybe he starts doing more body weight stuff and things of that nature. Maybe he goes to a boxing regimen to kind of, lean his body out, because he's got to do something. Because I just don't see the frame that he has helping him carry the weight with a bad leg, especially as bad as they said that leg was after his injuries. He's just got to do something different. He can't carry that the same at this point in time.
I'm looking down the cut. Sergio Garcia. I'm just picking out names here. I seen Vijay Singh didn't make the cut.
Vijay ain't played good golf in 5 years.
He's still my man's though. He always gonna be my man's. Go back to the cut. Come on. Rory McIlroy didn't make the cut.
Rory exploded. What was that? Friday on like either the front nine or back nine. I don't remember which part, but he was like bogey. So the wheels just came off the bus for him.
And BJ says yoga for Tiger. That's what I was thinking. Do some DDP yoga.
It's something, but he's got to change that frame, man.
But he does military workouts where he's carrying a 80, 90 pound bag on his back and running. Like they was like, this dude remember Tiger got really, really jacked up.
Yeah.
And he got cognitive. Yeah.
Hey, that's why I say you gotta drop some of that.
Man, that's just absolutely crazy. But Bryson DeChambeau didn't make the cut.
And he's been hit or miss for a minute.
That is one of my rivals.
So it's funny we even say this because I listened to a golf announcer and he made a very poignant point for lack of alliteration. He was like, there's guys that have won 2, 3, maybe 4 majors in the last couple of years. Talking about your Spieths, your Koepkas, even your Schefflers. And they're like, but that because of Tiger's greatness, we just see it as a drop in the bucket. We don't acknowledge them for having really good to a great career because Tiger was so dominant that his accomplishment overshadows their accomplishments vastly. Like Scheffler's won 2, maybe 3 majors in the last 2 or 3 years. So that's a good stretch. That's a great stretch. But because we had Tiger in the mix, like we don't even acknowledge it. It's like, all right, yeah, that's nice. Good job. Pat him on the back and just let him go.
I think that's a draw. That's a hurdle that Phil Mickelson will never get over.
Yeah, I think Mickelson has maybe 7, 8 majors, and
I think he's one of the greatest golfers we've seen in our generation. But we can say we watched Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus because we caught the tail end of their career. We watched Chichi Rodriguez. We watched these guys when we were younger, but pre-Tiger. So those I count those as our generation too. So we saw some great golfers before. Right.
But yeah, I definitely say that. Phil's probably one of the better shot makers. Actually, another guy is Bubba Watson. Bubba Watson's a great player. He doesn't get the accolades because he's kind of aloof. He's kind of strange. But Bubba's I'll never forget that shot that Bubba hit going down the back nine. I think it was at the Masters where he hits it around some trees out of being in the cut and gets it on the green and saves par.
Well, let me ask you this, because as of right now, John Rahm is second. He's 9 under for the total for the tournament. He's 1 over today in round 3. But if he can make a move, you think he can win this?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Rahm the first day came out with a double bogey and then shot like -9 the rest of the thing to end up at -7. So he can get hot. The question for him is going to be, will he have the endurance, because he's doing probably 29 holes of golf today to finish out the third and go into the fourth. And the thing he might want to hope for is that they push this into Monday to give him a little bit of a break and come back Monday morning to finish out the final round.
Also, Victor Hovland is having a doozy of a weekend. He's 2 under in round 3. He's 8 under for the whole tournament. But on his heels, Patrick Cantlay, who is sitting 4th at 6 under, but he's 4 under for the third round. He is making some moves.
Well, and I'm just technically today is still Saturday, so technically today is moving day. You know,
here's the thing, and this is a lot of knowledge that I have is from hearing people talk, but it's also from learning the game through tutorials and Q school and all of that. I know for a fact, if you can birdie a couple of holes on the front 9 and get your bearings together, and you get the rolling on that back 9, when I tell you you can make a move on that back 9 and change everything. BJ may not be here right now. He in the comments, but ask him, because I think we were playing. We had a foursome going. It was BJ, myself, the People's Choice, Don Rodriguez, and Dario, and we were playing PGA, and they were rolling on me. I couldn't get myself together on the front 9, but on that back 9, I surged. BJ almost bogeyed that last hole, and I needed to birdie that last hole. I birdied the last hole. He wound up he parred the hole, but it was enough for him to win by a stroke.
Nah, but Hovland came out the gates roaring. I think he was second, third after the first day. I think he was also -7 again, and then he just had a bad Friday. And it's good to see him come back and stay within. Now he's what you say he's -8.
Having him, yep, eight under.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good way to come back and fight your way back into the tournament. I don't see, because of the wet conditions, I don't see this as a day where the ball is going to move a whole lot unless they were able to get that course dry enough. So I think this is going to be a day, unfortunately, for some low scores. So I don't know if the big move can be made. But then again, they play the British, so and that place is always rainy. So you never know with great golfers what can happen. Oh boy!
All right, Clarence Carter.
Oh boy!
All right, Clarence Carter. Clarence Carter. Oh shit, Clarence Carter. I just showed my age with that. Last but not least, the NBA plans to open an investigation into the Dallas Mavericks. So apparently, the Mavs sat pretty much their whole roster. Let's just call it what it is. And the only person played was Luka. And they were eliminated from play-in contention. So a lot of people are saying, well, they should have never got Kyrie. And you want to blame everything on Kyrie. But I don't know what Mark Cuban is doing, because what I've heard is that this is his idea. But this is not cool. This is not good at all. This doesn't work. And The boss BJ says the Mavs investigation will be a joke, and I kind of sort of gotta agree. And he also says teams have been sitting players all year, and I think here's my thing: you want to talk about load management, you want to talk about this, that, and the third, but if you don't get out there and compete, like Kevin Durant. Nobody's talking about that. When the Lakers played the Suns the other night, he sat out that game because they had we got the number 2 seed locked up. Devin Booker didn't play. He didn't play. I don't think Chris Paul played. Even if you got it locked up, so what? I want to run strong into the playoffs. I don't want to kind of just ho-hum. Yeah, we're here. No, I want to run strong into the playoffs. And once again, I'm talking about something that doesn't exist anymore because my Bulls never did that in the 90s. You never saw Jordan sit out at the end of the season, especially in 96. We were trying to win 73 games. We won 72. The year after that, we were trying to win 70 again. What is the deal with this? Why are we even here?
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. See, this is what I don't like about you.
What am I?
You know, there's some topics that I have very strong feelings about. And every now and then you just place them because this wasn't on the show sheet, but it's okay. You want to play your
toes.
You want an in-season tournament, but this the shit I gotta watch at the end of the season. You want to add games to your schedule, or actually you want to take games off of the schedule because you want to play 65 regular season games and then add in this in-season tournament, but you don't show up. The Wizards haven't played anybody the last 8 ball games. If I'm a season ticket holder, I need something. If I'm a fan of the game, like it's funny how when the fans don't show up, oh, this is a terrible city for sports. Oh, people don't love the game. Oh, I wish we had real fans. Well, I wish we had real players. I wish the players would actually show up and do the job that they're paid to get done. Because, I mean, I know we all get vacation days, but I didn't know NBA players got vacation days. I thought they had the whole summer or the whole winter as their vacation or whatever season they're off as their vacation days. But obviously, I'm wrong. Obviously, guys get to play when they want to play. So the fact that the NBA wants to open an investigation into something that they've been freely letting happen all season long, all year long, I don't get it. Like the Wizards haven't played anybody. Porzingis hasn't played. Kuzma's not playing. Bill's not playing. You just said KD didn't play the other night. Booker didn't play. Like, I mean, I get one of the things where, oh, we're going into the playoffs. You know, it's the last couple games. It doesn't change our position. Let's rest the guys and let the other guys play. I get that to an extent because the first thing that the media will argue is if KD goes out and rolls his ankle in a meaningless game against the Lakers, the first thing we'll holler is, well, why was he out there? So you don't get that luxury of complaining about it because, yeah, they would. You know they would. You sitting there, you got the people's eyebrow going, but no. They would they would be like, why was he playing? They should have shut him down for the next 2 games. But then they're also saying in the same breath, why wasn't he playing the last 2 games? It's like it's the greatest hypocrisy. And the greatest thing that Doc Holliday ever said is, Wyatt, my hypocrisy only goes so far. That's the truth. But unfortunately, everybody wants to live it out. They want to go beyond the means of their hypocrisy and just give it this endless life. But you can't have it both ways, and that's the problem. That's the interesting dichotomy in all of this, is that you have one side where the media will question you for a guy playing, and then in the same breath, turn around and question why he wasn't playing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And here's the problem with that. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's basically what it is. And that's a problem. That is a problem. You said it the other night, and I gotta agree with you. we're never going to get back to that style of basketball that we grew up with, that we're used to, where unless somebody was severely injured and their shoulder was hanging off, you damn sure was going to see them on a nightly basis. I mean, hell, growing up in this area and watching the Bullets/Wizards, those teams weren't winning championships. But you know what they did? Susan O'Malley was a marketing genius because she would put packages together. Well, come on out and see your favorite stars. You got the Bulls, the Lakers, and San Antonio playing
for everybody else.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. I felt like they were helping us like other teams and not like the Bullets.
Yeah, because come out and see Shaq take on your Washington Bullets. Come see Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen take on your Washington Bullets. Come see David Robinson take on your Washington Bullets. And that was the package that they would sell on discount. You could get all 3 tickets for like $120. And these was like mid-level seats if you bought this package. But guess what? You come in there and you see the atmosphere. You're not there to see the Bullets or the Wizards. You're there to see the other team.
Yeah.
Because when you got top teams coming into DC, that's who you coming to see. But then when you do that, and let's say Susan O'Malley was still running things, people want their money back because she's marketing for you to see all these players. And then those players don't play on that road trip because that's the game they're supposed to sit out.
Right.
I came here to see them. That's what you market. That was on the marquee. That's what I bought this package for.
Well, the funny thing is we're now celebrating players who don't play in the ball game, but they see a kid with a sign that said, I traveled 400 miles to see insert player name. And then after the game, they go out and give the kid like some shoes or they sign an autograph or whatever. That's what we celebrate.
Yeah.
We don't admonish the player for not playing. We celebrate the fact that, he was nice enough to see that this kid was in the stands on somebody's Twitter feed or whatever. And we gave him something, even though he didn't get to see his favorite player play. He just, it's the funniest thing in the world.
Let me say this. Now, the first Bullets game I went to was against Miami. That was like 93. They still had Gugliotta. This is pre-Juwan Howard.
I had the worst Wizards luck.
So I got to see that. But my last Wizard game that I went to was 2002. Michael Jordan's last season. I got to see MJ play.
I did too.
That was good enough for me.
I got to see MJ's 55 or 54 point night against the Hornets. And that was by accident. I just so happened to be at work that Saturday. Dude came in, was like, I got an extra ticket for the Wizards game tonight. He's like, I'll give it to you now. Just meet me downtown. We do drinks, whatever. We go to the game. Boom. So I did saw MJ drop 55.
He scored 2 when I was there.
So let's take it back because when I was younger, we used to get tickets because my dad's coworker, his daughter worked for Home Team Sports. So they would have tickets left over from their little batch. And every now and then she would call. Well, it wasn't at that point. I think we saw like 30 Wizards home games. Well, my dad saw 30. Me and my sister saw like 15 because we had to split them up. But yeah, we saw a bunch of games. And the years that she was there the most was the year that Jordan was hurt, so he didn't play. So every time I saw the Bulls, it was Reggie Theus and company. And then the next year, I think he didn't play well in Washington. So we had this thing where we thought Jeff Malone was the Jordan stopper for a stretch because Jordan didn't get loose when he came to Washington. It was weird.
Wait. Time out. Back up. Because you just said something and it just clicked to me. You said, hold on. The season Jordan was hurt. So that was the second season.
Yeah.
Dog, you talking early 80s?
Yeah.
When you say Reggie Theus, oh my God,
Bruh, so
That's
you gotta
shit.
remember. All right, so just remember, I'm 47, right? But my pops was he was big in the sports. So my first football game, I'm 6. It's 83, and they're playing the Raiders, and that's that 37-35 game. That's the first game I see. And my uncle was like, I don't know if he should go. My dad was like, trust me, when he gets in the stadium, he ain't moving. And if he does, he gonna get something to eat and come straight back to the seat. Watch. That's what happened. After the game, went to get some fries, stood in the long line. Then I started thinking, this ain't the right line to be in. And I went down like 2 sections further. Same fries, no line. That became my section on my spot. So like I had it timed out perfectly. Like 7 minutes left in the second quarter. I go get my fries, come back, sit in my seat. I ain't moving no more. Unless I'm going to the bathroom. And after that, I think I had like my fake season tickets for a minute because there was a stretch where I didn't miss a game. Like no matter like if somebody didn't go, it was my ticket. So yeah, I was lucky, man. Going to games early on, I was real lucky. Basketball and football.
Hey, I ain't even hating on that, man. That is amazing. I didn't go to my first NFL game until December 24th, 2000, Christmas Eve. That was my first NFL game. My first NBA game was, like I said, back in 93. That was watching the Bullets versus Miami. And I can't even remember who was playing in Miami then. I think that was like Ronnie Cycli and I think Vincent
maybe Glenn Rice.
In it. Yeah, Glenn Rice was still there. Yeah. But I think he was out that night.
John Crotty.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was actually cheering for the Bullets that night.
That was the funny thing too. So I'll never forget, I think it was 87. I don't know how this happened, but we got floor seats. So we sat on the wood for the Hawks. So I was right there for Dominique, Tree Rollins, Spud Webb and company. And my sister the whole time was like, because we had 3, which we never got 3 tickets, but we got 3 on the floor. And she was like, well, I hope the ball doesn't come over here. I'm like, man, let it come over here. Some jokers can jump over top of us or whatever. I was just ready, man. That was a great night, man. But still, yeah, it's funny. And this is kind of what I was talking about the other night. Even though the rent came in, like when you give fans something or fans get something, it's an interesting thing, man. I'll tell people all the time that because of Lou Holtz, Notre Dame owns a spot in my life since 80, 87. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's an ND thing on the wall. There's ND gear in here. I mean, I can look like you put me on the sideline, give me some khakis, I'm good to go. I got enough gear to, but it's just, and that's what I think we lose because we become such a transaction society. Everything's about how we do things, when we do things, and not the reason why, or giving somebody something just because of the goodness of our heart. I mean, you got jokers out here videotaping themselves giving food to homeless people. It's like we don't recognize the joy in just the doing. Sometimes we have to get the recognition from it. But that's a tangent. So
I like it.
But I got something for you. If we got time. So if you need to finish this up, let me know, and then I got a question for you.
Okay. And the boss BJ says mine's too, Skins versus Cards, because he was there with me to share that moment. And
that wasn't the first FedEx game, was it?
Yeah, that was our first FedEx game. Skins versus Cards. Terry Robisky was the head coach.
Okay, so that was the next season.
Yeah. We walked in there. I remember we got there early too. And kind of on emotional. Yeah. We got there early. I'm talking about the game didn't start till 1. I think we walked into the stadium at like 9:45.
So and that's 2000, you said?
Yeah. So we caught BJ parked that Chevy. He picked me up.
Oh, we were still going.
Yeah.
I was there.
We was all the way, when I say at the top, before they covered the seats, we were at the top. We were like 3 rows below where they had the FedEx ribbon, the FedEx colors at the top of the stadium. We were like 3 rows below that in the end zone. First and last time we ever sat in the end zone, we said we'll never sit in the end zone again. And we sit anywhere, we sit on the 50-yard line as much as we can, no matter what height, but 50-yard line. And we got in there early, and it was just like this moment of awe, like, we really here. Then we was like, all right, well, what we gonna do? We walked around, and I think I had $50 to my name. He had 50, I had 50. I said, I guess we can get something to eat. But then we seen jerseys. So he got a Champ Bailey jersey, I got a Darryl Green jersey. So I was like, all right, this cool. That's our 50. We didn't eat. We didn't do nothing. We just chilled out and just caught the atmosphere. And I was like, I thought about it. I said, we just seen the first black head coach in Washington Redskins history win a game. Yeah. It was a surreal moment. And I've been to plenty of games since then. And I try to go at least once a year now, no matter what. But I started that a few years ago, just like, go to a game every year. And COVID kind of stopped that, but now.
Right. I had the game last year, the Tennessee Titans game.
Yeah. So back into it now. And I love to go to the games in the October, November when it's colder. Right. Because we used to go to preseason games. BJ used to always be like, come on, we're going to the Buffalo Washington preseason game. And you get there and them lights on. And we sitting there like, man, it's hot. Like the temperature didn't drop, but it's hot. It's just humid. So I choose always the winter time. But
so I gotta stop a theory that you're pushing out there.
Okay.
End zone seats are good, but they're better when they're lower. You can't be above 300 when you got an end zone seat.
And I'm
always binoculars. So if you got binoculars, 300 2 to 300 is perfect. Because as you're looking at the game, like it's almost as if you'll jump every now and then if you use binoculars, because it's like the guy's running at you. So so my godfather had seats in the end zone. I had his seats for a couple games, and I was looking through the binoculars, and you could see the players, like, the hole opens up and the running back coming through. So yeah, I wouldn't. End zone seats are good because you get to see the whole game. The worst seat to have was the seat I had for 3 years, but I never sat in it beyond introductions. So I used to sit in 106 seat 1 or something like that at RFK. So so you can imagine it, the dugout was like 3 rows in front of me. And the team came out of the dugout for team introductions. That's how close I was. But the problem is, when you sit there and the ball goes down the field, you can't see nothing but helmets. And the ball coming to you, till you get to about the 50-yard line, you can't see much. So after like team intros, I would hightail it around the stadium and go sit up with my dad and them, because they were in like, I think it was 328 or something like that. And they had the last 2 rows of that section. So all the guys would sit up on the wall. And after a certain point in time, I got the green light to be allowed to stand on the wall with the guys. Because at first I wasn't eligible because I wasn't old enough or whatever. But it was like a rite of passage to stand up on the wall with the guys. So yeah, I've seen a lot of Redskin games.
See, and going to Redskin games, Commander games, and the boss will tell you. I also went to FedEx to see my first college football game was Notre Dame versus Navy.
That's the one I should have gone to.
That was 2014. My sister took me to that for my birthday. It was a late birthday gift, but she took me to that. She surprised me and took me to that. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm walking around. I'm watching Navy come in. When Notre Dame ran out the tunnel, I was there. I had both my sons. They had Dario and Xavier there. When Notre Dame came out the tunnel, Dario had to put his arms around me. He was like, "It's okay." I was like, "Ah, stop, man, stop." I said, "You see Notre Dame?" Like I broke down.
Yeah,
I've been a Notre Dame fan since '88, and I was just telling somebody online. I was like, if it wasn't for Rocket Ismail and Tony Rice and those guys, I wouldn't be a Notre Dame fan.
I didn't know about this. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. So yesterday's convo in the chat. My bad.
No. That's another topic. It's just something.
That's content. That's content.
One of them late night thoughts. But seeing Notre Dame, straight emotion, man. Straight emotion. But I can sit there. It's a lot of times I'll sit there and I'll watch pre-snap. I'm like, blitz coming from the left. And all of a sudden, the blitz, I'm like, if I can see that, why the hell you can't see that?
It was also about like where you sitting at, where you stand in that perspective. But I get you. I get what you're saying.
I sit there and call it out. I will call out plays in a heartbeat. And I'd be like, I hope y'all can hear me. I'm yelling out, blitz, pick up the blitz. And they snap the ball, hit a blitz coming, it's a jailbreak blitz. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be up here.
Well, dog, you sitting in the 400 section, so you got like, the coaches take view. So of course you know what I'm saying? You're gonna see that. They ain't gonna hear you.
No, they're not gonna hear me at all. It don't get that quiet in there. Now you said you had something for me.
So we talked about the Arizona Cardinals a few seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
So word came out last week that Michael Bidwell is under investigation, workplace discrimination. I think the guy is Will McDonough's son. Terry McDonough is the one that's suing the team because they wanted them to contact Steve Keim, the GM, while he was under team-issued suspension using burner phones. There's also talk about discrimination in terms of hiring practices. And then also the Steve Wilks firing is in the midst of all of that, as well as things they asked Steve Wilks to do. And of course, Wilks is a part of the case that Brian Flores has going against the NFL. Now, the funny part about that is that the NFL is working its best and doing its damnedest to try to get that in arbitration and not in the court of law. But Flores is blocking them from doing arbitration only because he wants to let some light in on the darkness. So, to you, A, what do you think about it? And B, kind of do you expect anything less? Because the Bidwells have been one of the worst owners in football or in ownership, period.
Go ahead and bring out your broom, is what I thought about. I said, because I seen a blurb about it, and then I didn't see nothing else. I haven't heard nobody talk about it. But now, it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when I do it.
Right.
Jerry Jones, Daniel Snyder, the owners down in Miami.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Is it Huizenga?
Nah.
No. That used to be. I'll call it Joe Robbie right now, but I know it ain't Joe Robbie. Joe Robbie
been Steven something. It's Steven. I can't think of Steven's last name.
Here's my thing. You got so many.
What?
Stephen Ross.
There we go.
You got so many different things going on in the NFL. But if you notice, only Daniel Snyder got. Hold on. BJ says all of them. Don't exclude any of the owners. Yeah, all of them. You got so many things going on, but little bits and pieces like drops of water coming out. But everybody was outraged about Daniel Snyder. And I'm not taking up for Danny Boy. I'm not taking up for him. But everybody was so outraged about what happened here in the building in Washington. The same thing happened down in Dallas with Rich Dalrymple taking pictures of the cheerleaders.
Right.
Because he's retired now, we didn't hear anything. Nothing was done. No investigation was launched. No federal investigation. No, none of that.
Well, that's a circumstance situation.
Okay.
So the reason, and here's, I mean, I get what you're saying, but Danny Boy put the spotlight on his situation because he kept trying to get something on Bruce. And when he leaked the emails and whatever that situation was, I don't remember the whole outline of that, where John Gruden got fired because of the language in the emails and things of that nature. That brought light to other things in the scenario and in that case. So that case made, actually what they did was Dan Snyder, being a dumbass, tried to bring light to somebody else's situation. And what he did was cast a brighter sunshine or a spotlight on the misgoings and misdoings in his situation. So he brought it on himself.
Yeah.
And I think these teams, the thing they've done well is, like, when something happens, you get rid of it and you don't bring it up again, or you don't bring attention to yourself.
But now, here's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong. We had a lot of bad stuff happen in this building. The thing with Alex Smith injury. Jay Gruden got mad because one of the players was smashing one of the secretaries that he was smashing. And he kept him out of the game, who was the best third down blocker. And that's not speculation. That's true. The text messages that Jay Gruden sent DJ Swearinger, and welcome back to DC, DJ. The text message that he sent him, and DJ Swearinger had been talking about it for the longest, of how this is not the way we do things. This is not the way you play the game. And everybody called him crazy. He wound up getting released. I'm going to tell you a set of people that did not call him crazy. The sideline junkies didn't call him crazy. We took what he was saying even before he dropped the proof. We had a lot of bad things going on in this building. You go to Dallas, they got even more. Forget Rich Dalrymple. Forget that. Think about the shit that's going on with Jerry Jones and his sexual assault allegations.
Right.
Nothing's talked about. Nothing. This whole thing down in Arizona, which you asked about, which is the first thing you asked about, they're not going to do a damn thing. It's going to get swept under the rug. They're going to do a bullshit ass investigation just to say, okay, it's tied up in a nice little neat bow, and we're going to go on about our business. They're going to continue to be some of the worst owners in sports, and it's never going to be anything. There's never going to be any nobody's going to get any justice. That's what it's going to be. And the boss BJ said, just because you're bad at tap dance don't mean you're not a dancer. Yeah. And one thing about it, NFL picks and chooses. They had selective outrage. That's what the NFL has. They have selective outrage. So does the NBA. Selective outrage. And I say this all the time. If Paul Tagliabue was still commissioner, if David Stern, God rest his soul, was still commissioner, we wouldn't have these type of problems.
Yes, we would.
Paul Tagliabue.
A lot of this happened on Tagliabue's watch. Like, let's not make it seem like let's not make it seem like Roger got there and all of a sudden they decided to act up.
They did.
This thing been shady and shiesty all along. It's just the difference is now you have the media coverage that's a much more aggressive because everybody's got to eat. You got. All right, let's think about this. In the 80s, who's covering the Washington Redskins Commanders? Channel 4, 5,
7 and 9. The right. Washington Post, the Washington Times.
That's about it. Or the Washington Herald or whatever else.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the third
sources. 7 or 8 sources covering the team. Now you got beat reporters. You have so many people with their hands in the process that there's more exposure.
Oh, don't forget radio. Don't forget radio, because you had radio covering Washington too.
Yeah, but you had radio until WTEM 570.
Well, you still had WJFK.
I mean, I'm sorry, you had WMAL back in the day. That's who their radio partner was. But still, I mean, that's Kim Beatrice from 6 to 10. Kim Beatrice ain't doing no investigative reporting. You know what I'm saying?
Don't you ever disrespect him. One of the best to ever do it.
Sports call. I called him twice. Had my stuff written down and everything. But nah, it's just it's a difference in the coverage and what you have access to and who's trying to cover the team. You know what I'm saying? There's things that are coming out and they investigate themselves. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We still got the non-report from Beth Wilkerson.
Yeah. Don't forget about this. Don't forget about this. They like internal affairs.
Yeah.
We've cleared ourselves of any wrongdoing. Exactly. That's where the problem is. There needs to be something. Something.
But it's not going to be because they got to protect themselves. Why do you think every case that has any kind of informational juice or anything that can hurt the league, it's always in arbitration? They always go to arbitration because they can lock and seal the evidence or seal the conversations or the what's the words I'm looking for?
Misdealings.
All of it. They can hide all of those things in that arbitration. Whereas if this is put in a regular court of law and it's free and open to the public, more stuff is going to come out. That's why we still haven't talked to Flores. There's a reason that case hasn't happened yet. And what the NFL lawyers will do is tie it up for as long as they can, so that way it never comes to light.
I'm just saying, if this was Paul Tagliabue and Gene Upshaw, we didn't have no work stoppage. We didn't have no controversies like this.
Okay, so hold on. So let's go with that because you said Tagliabue and Gene Upshaw, and I know for a fact there was a saying back in the day that in Tagliabue's office was a dog bowl and a chain for Gene Upshaw because he was his pet.
I've never heard that, and I'll never believe it.
That was a thing.
I'll never believe that.
Yeah, your boy wasn't. Your boy was laying down. They called him Snoopy, but they ain't call him Snoopy. That's an added thing. That was my reference, but nah, Wow. That's why. So real quick, I think in the if you in the Junkies Facebook, we did a I think there's a topic that came up, top 13 NCAA players since 2001. I'm really trying to get people's opinion on this. So if you go in, drop your 13, there's a list already provided. If you don't like the list, add in who you want to add in, rank them, and then what we want to try to do is at some point present the Sideline Junkies version of it based on the input of everybody involved.
I'm with that. I saw that, and I got to put my list together, so I'll make sure I have that today. And the boss, BJ, says, I don't think the commissioners matter. It's more coverage and media outlets and info gets out there a lot quicker. Yeah, because you got people in the locker room that's talking.
Well, everybody trying to get famous.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be the next Schefter, whatever.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our time for the Sunday Rise.
We're never going to be 35 minutes, 45 minutes.
No, never. Not anymore. I mean, it gets too good. Thank you for bearing with us during the technical difficulties. Man, what can I say? That's the Midnight Rider up that side. That's the Midnight Rider. I mean, it does say the big guy KG, but I'm David Ruffin, and these are.
I gotta go back and see how we got to this. I gotta go back and see how we got to this.
I will say we don't do no overtime, but damn it, we didn't did it. Hold on, we got another comment up in here. Oh, oh man, can't forget about the boss BJ in the text window, laughing his ass off right about now. But for the Midnight Rider, myself, the big guy KG, the boss BJ, who's on special assignment. I would say we don't do no overtime, but we did it again tonight. It is afternoon. So we are out of here.